If you can still remember, some time back, there was a government move to require all public utility buses to install GPS or global positioning devices. This was loudly protested against by many bus operators to the extent of bringing the issue to court. Just recently, the courts have decided, and we have no less than the chairman of the LTFRB to give us insights into its long-delayed implementation. Hello, Chairman Delgra, and welcome once again to Motoring Today.
Hello, Butch, and to all the viewers of Motoring Today.
Reports have it that the Court of Appeals had affirmed an LTFRB order requiring the installation of GPS or Global Positioning System devices on public utility buses. For the benefit of everyone, would you kindly briefly explain the rationale behind the order? What are the benefits of their installation and to whom?
Okay, the latest order of the Court of Appeals simply denied the motion for reconsideration filed by the petitioners, in this case, the Bus Operators Association. The petition was previously dismissed by the Regional Trial Court of Quezon City, and so they appealed it to the Court of Appeals, and sometime February this year, the Court of Appeals dismissed their petition, and thereafter they filed their motion for reconsideration, which just recently the Court of Appeals likewise denied it. What that means is that we will continue with the policy of installing GNSS, Global Navigation Satellite System. They are actually named depending on the areas that they are operating. In the USA, they call it Global Positioning System, or GPS. In Europe, they call it Galileo. In Russia, they call it GLONASS. But whatever be the case, it's actually a technology by which the vehicle is being tracked by the satellite out in space, so that we'll be able to monitor not only the speed as well as the location of the vehicles.
With the reaction of the bus operators being against the order, even going to court to block it, with this court order, do you expect a smooth sailing in implementing it? Or do you see any further move from their ranks to elevate this issue to the Supreme Court?
We would hope that the Bus Operators Association will already concede to the orders not only of the Regional Trial Court but also of the Court of Appeals, which ruled on the matter twice, so that we'll be able to continue with installing the GPS, not only for the benefit of the bus operators, but more importantly for the benefit of our riding public.
Tell us please, how do you plan to make sure bus operators would follow the court order and indeed install these GPS or GNSS devices, as you said? Does the LTFRB have in place a monitoring system as well as a process of instituting sanctions for bus operators that violate the order?
The memorandum circular that was actually passed before we came into office of July 2016 already put in place a mechanism by which the installation of these GPS or GNSS units in the buses are already in place, among which is that the unit or the GNSS unit that would be installed should come from the accredited providers of the LTFRB. Second, there would be random inspection and testing insofar as the units are concerned. And thirdly, if there would be non-installation of this unit given the period that the bus operators are to install the units, they are being penalized. For non-installation, there would be 5,000 pesos per unit and 1,000 pesos for every month that they would delay the installation during the period that they are supposed to install.
Having mentioned about the devices of various kinds and brands, do you have specific brands or accredited ones for that matter?
There is actually no specific brand, but there is a list of GNSS providers that were accredited by the LTFRB. And so for any bus operators who would like to now comply with the order of the LTFRB. They may seek guidance from the technical division of the board so that they would know which of the GNSS providers are actually accredited by the board, from which they can acquire said units.
Now, it can be expected that some would suspect that implementation or non-implementation of the LTFRB order could be another source of graft and corruption. What guarantee, if there's any, that none of these could happen?
The guarantee being that even at the start of this administration, we have been very strong on addressing graft and corruption in this agency, and we continue to do so until today, and for so long as we are here in office. That said, insofar as the installation of the GNSS is concerned, considering the fact that it is actually integral in the modernization program that we have put in place, not only for buses, not only for PUJ, but all across all types of public transport, we would expect that all will comply insofar as this particular provision for the installation of GNSS is concerned. As again, I have said that this will in fact monitor the location of the buses. It will also regulate the speed of the buses, and therefore it will translate to the safety and convenience of the riding public.
Thank you very much for your time, Chairman Delgra. Before we end, do you have any message to the viewers, most especially the bus operators and the commuters?
We would like to reiterate our appeal to the bus operators to please embrace this policy of the board to upgrade and modernize our public transportation system, and among which is precisely to install GPS or GNSS devices. I mentioned about two things that would be beneficial for this machine that would be installed in the units. I mentioned about having to monitor the speed as well as the location of the buses. Those two benefits would actually redound to the management or the proper management of these units. But on top of that, we are moving forward to having what you call a automatic fare collection system, for which you don't have to pay cash anymore when you get into a public utility bus. No? So, for example, you take the bus from one point and then get off the bus to another point. The GPS will already calculate the distance from these 2 points, and from which the fare may already be determined. So there are a number of uses for which this policy that the board have put in place insofar as the installation of the GPS or GNSS is concerned. So we would really appeal to the bus operators to embrace this policy, moving towards the modernization program of our public utility buses, as well as all types of public transport.
Thank you once again, Attorney.
Thank you, Butch, and happy motoring.
Attorney Martin Delgra III, Chairman of the LTFRB, our guest this week on Motoring Today's Motoring Forum.
I'm gonna miss you.
I'll miss you too.
So, why are you back?
I didn't want to miss you.